To you, Sagittarius, hopefully y'all are having a great day. For you, Sagittarius, you actually have the King of Cups, the Four of Cups, King of Cups, Five of Cups, and then you, Sagittarius, have the Hanged Man. So it's definitely about a change in you, Sagittarius's perspective, and learning to look at like relationships that have not necessarily worked out as learning lessons. I try to do my best to heal people all the time, to help them heal themselves more accurately. And the people that legitimately want to heal, they heal. They're going to take the time to heal. The people who don't, it is what it is. So I take that kind of approach, and that's the approach that you need to have to take when it comes to anything in life, right? But especially dealing with others. Chaos is the order of the day. Unpredictability is the order of the day. You know what I mean? So now it's a situation where a lot of you are in position where you understand it. And again, it's just a matter of your own perspective. You only lose if you know that you're the one that's messing up. You win and you gain something if you know that you're actually in a position of having to learn from your mistakes, and you haven't made that big of a mistake to where you can't go back. And so a lot of you Sagittarius actually feel good that you've learned from said mistakes, right? Before you end up having to be a YN or go that far down or that far to the point where you make mistakes that unfortunately, you can't bounce back from or you can't take back. And so the Eight of Cups now and the Hermit right here for you, Sagittarius, is about how you Sagittarius are learning to improve on taking accountability. So you're learning personal growth from your own shortcomings, right? Faults and follies, right, is another way of saying it. And learning how to actually use those things as a way to legitimately improve. Because what I'm seeing here for you Sagittarius is, with the accountability, you're learning to actually look out for yourself and understand that you have some things that you most definitely have to really improve on. And so that's what it is that you Sagittarius are ultimately doing. You are in a space where, and the thing is that the Hermit represents, this is a very powerful time right now, because the Hermit is an indication of how powerful it is, because it shows that this is a journey that you Sagittarius understanding that self-deification or self-empowerment has to come from self, right? A person could be as helpful as they possibly can be. They still have to be willing, whether it's you, whether it's anyone else, they still have to be willing to legitimately learn from their mistakes and actually move forward and do better, right? And so it's hard at times, because to get everything dialed in can be a difficult task, because chaos is always working to mess up that routine, because we're naturally chaotic beings, right? And getting on routine is one of the hardest things that we can actually do. We build certain routines, but chaos tries to make it so that we slack off in at least one area. And so trying to get ourselves onto all areas at the same time means that inevitably, no matter at some aspect in your life, you will slack at one point, right? So it's like, for me, at the health, as far as the physically most healthy times in my life, I don't have time to really socialize with friends. Specifically, more so accurately, people whom I would go after and try to seek a form of relationship with, right? Like trying to hang out with some chicks, get to know them, and then you know, you know what I'm saying, meet somebody through a close friend or meet somebody through a friend or something like that. You feel me? And that wasn't really on point. I was eating, sleeping, working out, playing video games, and just hanging out with my family. And I went outside for a walk. I went outside almost every day. And I slept the majority of the day. I ain't even gonna lie. That year or whatnot. You feel what I'm saying? Um, for me, I didn't do a whole lot but those things. And so that's the situation for you. There's a time where it's like you're learning how to be yourself. And that means that there's a walking away, there's a throwing away, a decision to walk away from what is normally considered to be normal, or what people like, right? Socially accepted. And so the thing is that the Six of Wands, the Six of Wands, the Ten of Swords, and the World card represents. But it's now that a lot of you Sagittarius, if you're doing it, if you're successful, that is, you have found your peace of mind. You have found your mind, or you are finding your mind, right? A lot of times people think that I done gone fool. You know what I mean? But that's not it at all. You know, I'm actually at the most peace without having to run around, because I realize I ain't got to hang out in the streets, because there's nothing but trouble out there. You know, you either on a mission, it's one of two things. You either have something to do in mind when you go outside, or don't go outside. Right? You just outside and you're like, whoa, why are you outside? I don't really have a particular reason. That is the makings of trouble. That is the makings of not a very good relationship. That will put yourself in a messed up disposition where you will end up being in a place where a person will use you for something. And then it will be you to catch, and people will not be out there helping you out. Right? People who go outside to touch grass, they go outside to touch grass. They go outside for a run. These are their purposes when they come outside. But you'll have people who will come outside just for the sake of just going outside. Like, oh, I'm just outside. Why do you come outside for? Oh, because, you know, whatever. Okay. And they may not want to be in the house. That's cool. Right? For whatever reason. But going outside when you don't necessarily have any place to be or have any kind of real purpose to go outside for, that is the makings of not a very good interaction. That is not a very good thing. So what I'm trying to say here with that is that you Sagittarius, again, like your mind is focused. You have found your mind. The Six of Wands, Ten of Swords, the World card, and you're benefiting a lot from the struggle, and a lot from the need to actually separate yourself. Because I'm telling you what you're doing. A lot of you Sagittarius, if you're doing it in a way that works for you, you're separating yourself. Yes, but you're separating yourself from the nonsense. Yes, you are separating yourself somewhat from the norm, but what you're also doing is you're letting go of the nonsense, right? So the dysfunctional relationships, the being fooled by it, the being caught off guard by it, the lack of responsibility and accountability that comes with that, right? The ability to learn from your lessons, right? A lot of times people ask me, how is it that I became so smooth with this to where I'm able to understand social norms? I wasn't born like that. I'll tell you that much. Me being a Virgo too, trust me, I wasn't born like that. And I've talked about this before. It took me a long time for me to get to this point. It took me a very long time for me to really get to this point, to put one and one together, because part of it, why it was so hard for me to put everything together in that sense, was because I didn't look at myself as being valuable until I had a significant other. Because I was trying to figure out what was broken in me as to why I can't get myself a significant other for. Like, I have all these great qualities that people say that they wish that they would have, but then when it comes to actually me, all I see is the dysfunctional guys get what it is that they want. What is going on? A lot of fake friends, play friends, and all of that. And then what I realized was it was the embracing fully of what that means. You have to separate yourself from your friends. You have to be a lone wolf, right? And then there's a whole other realm with that I'm still to this day learning how to gain the understanding of, right? Be more solitary. And it's the same thing for you, because it may seem like it's a nightmare. It may seem like it's scary, but in actuality, you separating yourself from other people and the BS is actually some of the best things that you could do. Because another aspect of it too is it's not just about because it balances out. It's not just about separating yourself. Sometimes you will have to hang out by yourself. But then what comes after that is the Wheel of Fortune and then the Six of Swords. But it's also about picking and choosing whom you want to hang out with, who has a good head on their shoulders. If the person has a good head on their shoulders and they want to hang out with you and you want to hang out with them, and they seem to be good to you, right? And you could be good to other people. It's about you picking and choosing what it is that you want to do, right? Like understanding that you do have power. You don't have to hang around anybody who mistreats you or takes you for granted. That's a personal decision that you are doing. And when you understand that, you have a lot more power. And then not only that too, but you'll be able to pull other people's card, right? Because what a lot of people try to do is they try to congregate other people in mass. The bigger the group, the better, so that they can, and I talked about this before, and finally people are starting to pick it up, to start a smearing campaign. But what happens when you don't care about being like ostracized from the group, and you don't care, and you're like, whatever, right? Like, it is what it is. You do not mind being the lone wolf or the lone lion or whatever, the owl, whatever. What happens when you will go in it alone and you'll say, forget about it, I'll do this by myself, or I'll do it with the people that want to. And it took me a long time too for me to find out that it was my family. It took me a long time for me to get that, because I loved my family, but I felt like there was a disconnect with them and me, right? So you are figuring out for yourself, like, there is a whole other aspect side to that. So let's clarify the Six of Swords. Right? So to clarify the Six of Swords, right, is the Page of Swords, Five of Pentacles, the Magician, Queen of Swords, and then you have the Knight of Cups to clarify the Six of Swords, which is about how the Page of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, and the Magician right here is all about how you're in a position where now the next step for you, like I said, is to pick and choose whom you hang out with. That's another aspect of how your life turns around too. How did I turn my life around? Stop hanging out with stupid people. They don't have anything. They're not working towards anything. They just on welfare all day, sitting around, And it's like, okay, you know, welfare can happen to any of us. I'm not knocking you, but they've been on welfare for years. They're not trying to get off of that. It's like, yo, like, they making excuses for it. They're kind of low key jealous, knocking you for you know your accomplishments. And it's like that's not. And it's like you. It's like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? They trying to turn it around, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not telling y'all how much this thing costs to goof on y'all. I'm telling y'all how much this thing costs because it was a big achievement for me. And I'm sharing y'all the hero's journey of the 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 difficulties, right? The monsters that I had to slay, so to speak, on some Herculean, right? The Hercules journey, the hero's journey of actually getting from nothing to getting to where it is that I am. This had nothing to do with the money that you have versus the money that you don't have, or rubbing it in your face. You're dropping the ball and missing the mark. And see, with that, what's happening with you, Sagittarius, is the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Cups. Excuse me. I got to remember this stuff. And why this is so important is because you're becoming a lot more you're becoming a lot more no nonsense about this. Like, if a person does not have any kind of real value to really give to you, they don't have to give you money, but wisdom. They got to get out of your life. Because what would be the point of them, right? You can't have bums or like individuals that's on the downslide when you're trying to go up. So that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the video. Trying to get the YouTube channel to 100K. I'm at 23,900. Smash the subscribe button, like button, hit the notification bell, set the notification bell like I said before. Set the notification bell to all so you can be notified whenever I drop my videos. If you're a Sagittarius or a cross watcher and you like to get a personal reading from me, the link to that is in the comment section below. Peace. Let's go to Linktree link.